The world underwent a seismic shift, altering the very fabric of wealth creation. In centuries past, fortunes were amassed through land ownership, industrial factories, and oil empires. Economic power belonged to those who controlled tangible resources, infrastructure, and physical labor. But as technology advanced, a new form of wealth emerged, one built on knowledge, innovation, and digital infrastructure. No longer bound by geography or physical assets, financial success became accessible to those who could harness the power of software, artificial intelligence, and cloud computing. The rise of Silicon Valley, the proliferation of software startups, and the explosion of digital platforms redefined what it meant to be wealthy. A single line of code could generate millions, and a well-designed application could reach users across the globe overnight. In this era of limitless potential, opportunity belonged to those who could foresee the next big shift before the masses. Early adopters, those who recognized the potential of emerging technologies, became the new pioneers of wealth. They understood that innovation was not just about creating new tools but about transforming industries. Entrepreneurs who once toiled in garages and dorm rooms turned into tech moguls. They disrupted traditional businesses with software solutions, decentralized information, and automated processes. The gatekeepers of old wealth, bankers, landlords, and industrialists, found themselves competing with self-taught coders and agile startups that moved faster than established institutions could react. Those who embraced this digital revolution reaped immense rewards, while those who resisted it faded into obsolescence. The barriers to entry in this new economy were not measured in land deeds or factory ownership, but in knowledge and vision. Unlike past generations, where financial success often required years of incremental growth, technology allowed individuals to build scalable businesses with unprecedented speed. Founders of small applications became billionaires, and software engineers who once worked for salaries began launching their own ventures. The tools to create wealth were now widely available, accessible to anyone with an internet connection and the willingness to learn. However, the accumulation of digital wealth was only the first step. Without strategic reinvestment, even the most promising ventures risk stagnation. The most successful entrepreneurs understood that sustainability required more than a single breakthrough. It demanded continuous adaptation, expansion, and financial discipline. True financial security in the digital era was never about making quick money, but about creating systems that would outlive their creators. Tech wealth, when managed properly, had the potential to span generations, ensuring stability and prosperity. Long after its original architects were gone, the game had changed, but the principles of long-term financial success remained the same: vision, innovation, and the ability to adapt. Those who built wealth in this new age did not just chase profits. They designed ecosystems, leveraged automation, and mastered the art of scalability. The digital gold rush was not a fleeting trend, it was the foundation of a new financial paradigm, one that rewarded those who understood the true power of technology-driven wealth. The architects of the digital age shared an understanding that separated them from the rest. Wealth was not a direct exchange of time for money, but the mastery of leverage. Unlike traditional industries, where income scaled with hours worked, technology enabled exponential returns. A single well-coded application, a breakthrough algorithm, or a disruptive platform could generate revenue long after its creator moved on to the next project. The wealthiest figures in tech did not trade their time for a paycheck. They built self-sustaining systems that continued to multiply their earnings indefinitely. Ownership, not labor, defined true financial success. Those who merely earned salaries, no matter how high, remained confined to the limitations of active income. The real power resided with those who owned intellectual property, equity, patents, and platforms. The founders of billion-dollar companies did not just participate in the tech industry, they built its foundations. They controlled the infrastructure that powered businesses, social interactions, and financial transactions worldwide. Their wealth was not tied to a single job or project, but diversified across multiple ventures, constantly reinvested to generate even greater returns. This cycle of creation and reinvestment distinguished those who shaped the industry from those who simply worked within it. However, wealth without strategy was fleeting. History was littered with stories of those who stumbled into fortune only to lose it through poor decisions, reckless spending, or a lack of financial literacy. The rise of overnight millionaires in tech did not guarantee lasting prosperity. Only those who understood the rules of investment, risk management, and market trends sustained their wealth. Without discipline, even the most promising financial empires crumbled. The tech boom had created vast opportunities, but only the disciplined navigated it successfully. They knew when to scale, when to pivot, and when to preserve capital. The code of wealth demanded more than intelligence, it required patience, foresight, and adaptability. In an industry defined by rapid evolution, success was not a one-time event but a continuous process of learning and reinvention. Those who mastered these principles ensured that their fortunes endured, passing down not just financial assets, but a framework for generational wealth. True financial independence in tech was never about short-term gains. It was about designing a system that flourished long after its creator had written their last line of code. Building wealth was just the first milestone in the journey. The true test came with the responsibility of preserving and growing it across generations. History was filled with stories of first-generation entrepreneurs who accumulated vast fortunes, only for the wealth to slip away by the time it reached the third generation. This pattern was not limited to any particular field, it was a universal reality, especially in the tech industry. Without structure, a fortune built in the digital age was as vulnerable as any other, subject to the same risks of mismanagement, poor investments, or failure to adapt. The challenge for tech billionaires then was to craft a legacy that would endure, not merely survive. To create lasting wealth, tech magnates understood that they could not rely on a single source of income. Diversification became paramount. Rather than keeping all their assets tied up in their startups or the tech companies they built, they expanded into a variety of sectors: venture capital, real estate, intellectual property, and more. Trusts and investments became the foundation of this strategy, acting as protective structures for wealth while allowing it to grow. Real estate portfolios offered stable income, while venture capital funds provided opportunities to multiply their capital in high-growth markets. Intellectual property, once seen only as a byproduct of technology, became a commodity in itself. Patents, software licenses, and brand value contributing to an ecosystem that ensured their wealth didn't rely on any one stream. A critical aspect of sustaining wealth was knowledge transfer. The families that succeeded in preserving wealth across generations ensured that financial education was embedded in their culture. Financial literacy became an essential skill passed down alongside family values. The knowledge of how to grow wealth, understanding market shifts, legal protections, investment strategies, and tax efficiencies was actively taught to heirs. Families documented systems, strategies, and approaches to wealth management in trust agreements, handbooks, and educational programs designed to prepare the next generation not just to inherit wealth, but to manage and expand it. They created a culture of innovation, encouraging heirs to continue the entrepreneurial spirit, but within a framework that was mindful of financial longevity. Without a strategic framework, even the largest fortune could be lost. The wealthiest tech families did not simply hope that their fortunes would last, they planned for it. They built a legacy of sustainability that went beyond just accumulating wealth. It was a holistic approach, blending financial education, diversified investments, and strategic estate planning. Tech wealth, in particular, demanded constant reinvention. The speed of technological change made it necessary for those who sought to pass on wealth to ensure that each generation was equipped with the tools, knowledge, and resources to thrive in an ever-evolving landscape. It was the key to scaling beyond a single generation, ensuring that the empire built with innovation, vision, and discipline would continue to thrive for generations to come. Throughout history, the downfall of the unprepared has been a constant reminder of how fleeting wealth can be. Sudden riches often led to a false sense of invincibility, where rapid success sparked reckless decisions. In the tech industry, where fortunes were amassed in a short time, the fall from grace was equally swift. Tech giants that once seemed invulnerable disappeared almost overnight, not because of lack of innovation, but due to poor management, missed opportunities, or failure to recognize shifting trends. The fragility of wealth became apparent when companies that had dominated the digital space crumbled under the weight of miscalculations, neglect, or complacency. It was clear that in the fast-paced world of tech, those who failed to stay ahead risked falling behind just as quickly. The illusion of infinite wealth created a dangerous sense of security for many who tasted success. With growing fortunes came an overconfidence that led to hasty expansions, blind investments, and a lack of attention to market changes. Investors and founders who once thrived now found themselves caught off guard, unable to adapt in time. Entire empires fell apart because their creators failed to recognize that wealth, no matter how substantial, was not guaranteed. Tech wealth was especially volatile, with the rapid pace of innovation and market fluctuations making it clear that success was not a permanent state, but a transient phase that needed constant vigilance. The truth was undeniable. Wealth was not a one-time achievement, but a continuous process requiring foresight, adaptability, and calculated risk. The difference between sustainable wealth and fleeting riches came down to preparedness and strategic planning. Those who built generational wealth understood that creating it was just the beginning. The real challenge lay in maintaining it over time. They foresaw the unpredictable nature of markets, recessions, and technological disruption, and built strategies to protect their fortunes. They did not rely on the notion that wealth would last simply because it existed. Instead, they consistently reinvested, diversified their holdings, and made decisions with the long term in mind. Wealth was not something to be hoarded. It had to be actively nurtured and grown. Failure to do so could result in the collapse of even the most seemingly secure financial foundations. True financial security, particularly across generations, demanded constant effort and resilience. The unprepared mistook temporary success for permanent stability, forgetting that the wealth they held was just as fragile as it was powerful. It was those who recognized the inherent risks of their positions that ultimately safeguarded their futures. The lesson was clear. Wealth was never final. It was an ongoing responsibility. In tech, where the landscape changed almost daily, only those who worked tirelessly to adapt, protect, and grow their fortunes could hope to build wealth that would endure for generations. Without strategic foresight, even the greatest achievements were vulnerable to the forces of time and change. The true value of wealth did not lie solely in its accumulation, but in its capacity to create change, influence, and uplift others. Those who had mastered the tech industry and secured their fortunes understood that the greatest impact of wealth was its ability to transcend its creator. They saw their wealth as a vehicle for transformation, not just in their own lives, but across industries, communities, and generations. These builders recognized that their success was not an isolated event. It was a foundation upon which others could stand and rise. Through their efforts, they redefined what it meant to be wealthy, not simply in terms of financial abundance, but in the power to create a better future. Philanthropy, investments in future technologies, and contributions to the advancement of knowledge became central to the legacies of these visionaries. They understood that their wealth had the potential to change lives beyond their own families. Instead of simply passing down money, they focused on passing down principles, values, and a mindset of creation rather than consumption. They invested in causes that furthered human progress and in innovations that would continue to shape the world long after they were gone. They built ecosystems of knowledge, leadership, and creativity that would sustain and grow for generations, leaving behind not just riches, but the tools for others to build upon. Their legacy was one of empowerment, not entitlement. Generational wealth in tech was never about luxury and excess. It was about creating influence, fostering innovation, and ensuring sustainability. True success was measured not only by how much was earned, but by how long it lasted and how many lives it touched. The tech titans who built enduring fortunes understood that the real value of wealth was in its ripple effect, the lasting impact it had on people, companies, and entire industries. The goal was not merely to accumulate wealth for the sake of comfort, but to leverage that wealth to foster growth and development on a larger scale. They built empires that supported future entrepreneurs, nurtured talent, and spurred progress. In the end, the ultimate realization was clear. Wealth was not an endpoint, but a tool, a powerful instrument to build, protect, and create an impact far beyond its originator. The true measure of a legacy was not the sum of material possessions accumulated, but the enduring effects of the wealth that had been wisely used. For those who mastered the art of building and sustaining wealth, their legacy lived on in the continued growth of the industry, the prosperity of future generations, and the innovations that transformed the world. Their wealth became more than just a number, it became a force that shaped history. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, Share it with someone who could use these tips, and subscribe to our channel for more practical financial advice. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time.